girls, it has been a minute and a lot has changed and gone down and happened. I'm not even gonna lie, it has taken me this long to kind of just work through all of that happened. And I've been wanting to make this video for a minute, but there's something about just taking some time to work through it so you don't speak out of raw emotion, which I have done when I was a little younger, especially online. And I want to be cautious to the fact that the internet is forever. One must work through it yourself before you share. Not to say that I will forever be rational or never speak on things and later regret it. I don't know. But in this particular situation, I felt that it was right because it doesn't just involve me. If it was just me, then I can own that, and it's my business, it's my life, it's my choice to share online with my community and whatnot. But this wasn't just about me, so I had to really land in a place where I could speak from love and understanding and not just frustration and hate and all these things, because I really don't want to do that. It's not my intention, even if I'm a little hothead. It's not my intention. So yeah, but today we are going to talk about what the fuck happened when I went to see Daddy in Jamaica. And I did write about this. I wrote when I was there. I shared that his wife didn't want me to see him, which in itself is quite crazy. Yeah, I got messages on Friday when I had a layover in New York. I got messages from him, and I'm doing this because she was just basically in the background screaming. So I know that it wasn't him. He is in a situation where, like, I've never seen him so broken in spirit and body. So like, I knew it wasn't him, and he was being forced to say certain things. But that whole chaos hitting me like a brick in my face, I had such an anxiety attack. Luckily, I was with someone that truly held me and took care of me in that moment, because I wasn't prepared for that at all. Based upon our conversations and the planning and whatnot, everything was just going to be smooth. My intention, like I've shared, was to go down and to help and to support and to do whatever I could do and bring him the stuff that we got him. And then it didn't really go that way. So I wrote on my Substack, which is where I will post certain things I'm not going to speak on online. I know it's online, but like, you know what I'm saying. For sure. So I'm gonna read that to you guys. What I wrote. I did make it a free post, obviously. The rest of the stuff is behind an $8 a month paywall, but I will read what I wrote about what went down, so that we so that you're maybe someone didn't like catch that I wrote it, whatever. I just posted it in my stories. Did I post a video about it saying that I did? I don't think so. I've just spent so much time going through all of this emotionally, so I will read what I wrote here so you guys know what the fuck happened. So this is on my Substack. The link is on my bios and I will put it in the description. This article, post, whatever, it's called Heartbreak and Soul Mission. I usually paint with brushes, paint, and tools, but today I'll paint with words. I'll let you in on exactly what happened on this trip back home to see Dad. After posting a video asking my community for help and receiving all the love and support I needed, I was so excited to be able to show up for my family. I left Oslo in awe of how beautiful things are working out despite the hard situation that even sent me on my way on this mission. When I got to NYC, I could feel it in my spirit that I was on the right track. Like my soul was excited to see old friends and loved ones. I got to spend my layover with people I longed to see, and I was curious to how all this would unfold or what it would unlock. One of my phones weren't working properly in the US, and I didn't pay it any mind because everyone who needs to reach me has my private number. I forgot that most of my dialogue on WhatsApp comes through my work phone, so when I finally got it connected to Wi-Fi, I saw that I received text from Dad. In my heart, I thought that he's probably just checking in. He knows I'll be there soon. I open the messages and I see voice notes and message saying, "Don't come." My heart fell into my stomach. My body began to shake of confusion. I had already spoken to him about this. He was happy he was going to see me. He knew I bought a bunch of things for him. This wasn't Dad. I listened, and upon my realization that indeed it wasn't upon his request, it was his wife. She was shouting in the background, telling him to tell me not to come. His heart heavily asking me not to come because his wife is there. She screamed some more while he desperately tried to handle the situation. Recording after recording, my heart shattered, hearing how she was speaking to him, how he was being treated, and knowing full well how much this hurts him to tell me. I remember my head spinning faster. I texted back asking what he meant, what's happening. Everything was fine. He knew I was coming, and now, one day before I arrive, this explosion takes place. He rings my phone, tells me his wife is there and so I mustn't come. She continues to scream. I remain confused, in disbelief and in shock. I'm hearing how she's dealing with him, and I realize how wicked she is, and that if I escalate the situation, he is the one who will pay the price. She screams that he must tell me to stop calling, don't text him, then hangs up. So I wrote that this breaks my heart. She called me asking, why does it break my heart? The sheer stupidity of asking such a question baffled me even further. Are you not capable of understanding that I love my dad? That this man raised me? That I asked my angels to help me for this very opportunity to help and see him in the fear of his death? I said, that's my dad. Of course it breaks my heart. She replied, he's black, you're white. He is not your dad. Like the color of my skin or his determinate the love felt. The shade of my skin dictates what I'm supposed to feel, know, or experience. So because I'm white and he's black, I could never see him as my father. Ignorance is not bliss. He was in the background pleading for her to relax and not continue. She kept screaming, and I said, fine, I won't come, knowing full well it was a lie, but I didn't want this to escalate nor carry on. I was afraid for his health. I said, I'll leave him alone, and I'll stop calling. Again, a lie. When the call ended, I felt an overwhelming wave of emotion and anxiety coming. I knew what was coming because I've felt it many times in my life. An anxiety attack. The hyperventilation, the numbing, the pain, the dizziness, tears exploding from my face. I knew I wasn't going to die, but my body thought so. I knew it wasn't dangerous because I've survived every single time, but my body had to ride the wave. So I cried. I cried for the fact that I knew now that my dad was in hell. I cried because I knew seeing him would become a bitter experience because of her, and I knew nothing would go as planned from here. After I reconnected with my body and was able to ground myself, I spoke to Auntie, updated her on what has happened. She said she had reminded him that I was coming because his memory had been affected by the stroke and he forgets things sometimes. He was excited, looking forward to see me. It was a joyful moment until they hung up and his wife made him call her back to let me know not to come. Confusion, disbelief, and concern. Auntie refused to say that to me, knowing full well all I've done to get here. We talked and agreed that I would still go. I still need to try. There was no way I would have gotten this far and not try. Everything was booked, bought, and ready. I just had to get there. We agreed that when I went, if the situation got out of hand or became too dangerous for him, I had to leave. If he got too stressed, we were both worried for his health. Another stroke, heart failure, body collapsing. Going back to that horrid hospital isn't an option. And beyond my personal desire to show up and show love, I must prioritize his health, his condition, and situation. There is no room for ego and pride here, only love. I tried to make the most of the day I had in New York, try to focus on the moment and know that I'd see him soon. I managed for a while. I ate pizza, met angels, watched the busy city coexist with my internal monologue of chaos. Any moment I stood still gave me flashbacks of disappointment, worry, and sadness. What is she doing to him? I thought it was so nice that she flew there to support him when he needed it. Now my presence had exposed a very different story. Every single time I fly back home, I cry of joy when I see the island from the plane window. Not this time. This time was different. I had made it possible to be here by humbling myself to a point I've never done before. The feeling of being looked at as weak. I had faced my insecurities, my shadows, in order to make this happen. I had raised an army of angels in prayer and support. I had faced a wicked witch that I knew had taken on a new calling, blocking everyone from entering, helping, and showing up for my dad. What awaited me once I disobeyed such wicked commands? What should I prepare for? How would I handle it? All valid questions that kept spinning in my mind as I walked my way to immigration, collected my suitcase, filled with donations and support for Dad. I made it this far. How could she stop me? After running errands, getting food, and finding the place I'd stay, I took a shower and sat down. It was like a full body crash. Total knockout. I slept for 12 hours straight, complete exhaustion from traveling and worrying. The day after, I asked God to clarify what I'm supposed to do, how do I deal, and when do I go. I went to the beach to soak in the water, connect and recharge, and get ready for the chaos that awaited me. I just needed a couple of hours to ground myself. I called my driver and let him know we're going to see Dad. And he fully agreed as he said, "Don't let anyone stop you, that's your dad." I showed him a picture of us when I was little, went through some more photos, and I felt the strength to continue. The road to his house is one I've been on so many times. Before the house was even finished, when I slept over at the neighbor's house, 3-4 people on one bed because my room wasn't done yet. My body remembered every turn, house, and sign on the way. Pulling into the community where memories of catching a taxi to school and sneaking out of the house kept flashing before me. I was so nervous. We pulled up to the house and I saw it was all locked. He wasn't there. I saw that the neighbor was, so I went over to say hi. It was nice to see a familiar face and to be greeted with joy and laughter. I told him why I was there and what had happened before I arrived, and I was giving full support and blessings to not let anything nor anyone stop me. My heart felt that, and it gave me more strength to come back the next day. I refused to give up, and so when the sun came back up and my body fully woke up, I started to get ready. Again, all the emotion, all the stress, all the worry kept bubbling, but I knew I had to go. Regardless of how uncomfortable or difficult it may be, I have to try. I have to let him know that I came all this way, that I kept my word and I didn't back down, that I fulfilled my promise and my mission. Same road, same thoughts, same energy. Only this time, when we drove to the house, I saw him. Only it didn't look like him, but I knew it was him because it is his house and he was in a wheelchair and he was right there. I just didn't see his light, his spirit. It was like a lamp without a bulb, a candle without a flame. I jumped out of the car, anxious and excited. When he saw me, it was like a second of joy, only for it to turn into sorrow, like he knew exactly what was about to happen. I called his name, and he answered, asking me, "What's up?" I laughed on the inside because that's the regular greeting, and it felt nice for a second. When I came up to the house, I asked what's going on, and he said, "This is going to be a problem." I said hello to his friend that was there. I remembered his phrase from when I was a kid. It felt good knowing you had a friend there. Dad was worried, saying she's going to be so mad. I asked, what is she going to do? Then I saw her slithering her way out of my old room where I used to stay when it was finished, where I grew up, where I had sleepovers and spent countless hours with my family, where I'd always be welcome regardless of mom and dad's relationship status. She looked at me with disgust, coming up to me and blocking the space between me and dad so I couldn't see him. She asked who I was, like she didn't know. I answered, "I'm Maria." And she said, "You're not welcome here." I calmly asked why, because all now it did not make sense to me as to why someone who is also a mother, someone who claimed this to be her husband, and someone who swore that she was there to take care of him, would deny family to visit. She said because I said so. Like her words are law and I was supposed to accept that. I simply said, "And?" She underlined that I'm his wife. So I simply said, "So?" Like she held authority over him, me, or anyone walking God's earth. I only obey God, not demons nor witches. She repeated that I'm not welcome while putting her hand in my face to further block me. And I said that that should be up to him and not her. She started yelling at him to tell me I need to leave. I looked at his friend and he was just shaking his head, like he knew it was wrong but didn't speak up either. In a way I get it, because it's better for him to remain close to dad. Better that he remains quiet so that he doesn't run him, so she doesn't run him away from the yard too. Even if it hurt in the moment to feel very alone, I understood why. Dad being forced in his condition to send away family is the most heartbreaking sight and experience. I could tell he didn't want to, and I knew that he was in absolute prison. She kept yelling and asking why I came. Did I need to leave? I didn't. I said I came to see him. She took his chair and started rolling it back on the porch, then pushed it in the house while yelling at him to lift up his feet so she could push him inside. She physically kept blocking me from seeing him. I knew this wasn't a good situation for Dad. I knew this would set his mind ablaze and his heart was breaking. I feared that he might have another stroke, seeing how bad it had affected him already. Knowing that if I stayed, I'd be putting him in danger. Knowing at some point I'd snap. A million scenarios running through my mind while having to make a decision. I decided to leave, but not before I shouted that she was evil, a demon. I started walking and she kept yelling, "You can't handle this one, come and test me." For a moment I really wanted to. I've been in many fights before, and for this, I'd gladly go again. Yet I knew the consequences of such an altercation. I knew what that would lead to. And regardless, I turned around and asked, "What are you going to do?" She yelled, calling me a bitch, challenging me to fight, saying, "I'm begging you to try me, please come." Imagine seeing your dad heartbroken, with a witch challenging you to fight because you wanted to help him, see him and show love. I don't blame Dad for not standing up because he physically couldn't. He had a stroke. It took out his left side. He was in the hospital and was treated like a dog. The amount of horror stories I've heard, friends coming to help him, hospital staff ignoring his needs, not giving him a bed to rest on, not washing him, not providing actual care. Then his wife comes down to help, and she cuts off your family, curses out your children, and causes problems in the community. All he wanted was peace. All he needs is affection, respect, time, and love, proper food, proper rest, real healing, surrounded by love and peace. Now we had to watch his daughter, who moved heaven and earth to be with him, get yelled at, threatened, and humiliated, unable to defend and protect himself or me. I cannot even imagine what that must have felt like and how deeply hurt he must be. How absolutely disgusting a person has to be to make their spouse's life this miserable. I have known that man since I was a child, and who I saw was not him. I was so scared to lose him before I made it here. My fear and anger from not making it in time to see my grandfather haunted me. Counting down the days until I was able to support him and try to bring joy, relief, and love, only to see that his spirit has been shattered and his mind corrupted. In a way, it feels like I already lost him, but I rebuke that. I know God works miracles, and I know He can restore, heal, and uplift anyone from anything. And I know the God I serve is Alpha and Omega. And that's where my prayer goes now, to the Almighty. I didn't realize why she hated me so much until she screamed that this is her man and I must find my own. In her twisted mind, she thinks I'm there because I want my dad. Not as a dad, but as a lover. The sheer insanity of such claims is beyond comprehension. She has made it up in her mind that I want the man who raised me. This is another reason I know she's possessed. When you're clear-headed, filled with love, and walk with God, your heart will see love as love. You will see an unbreakable bond between family as a blessing and not as a threat. If she had been in the right mindset, connected to her God-given soul, none of this would have happened. She would have welcomed friends and family, accepted donations, helps, and support. She would want her husband to be surrounded by as much loving family as possible for a speedy recovery. If she was worried for his health, she would have enriched his life and not drawn it out. She would speak life over him and not death. I don't take these things personally, because this has nothing to do with me. It's not just me, it's everyone. She wants to keep him locked and away and hidden, unable to call, text, and see and speak to anyone without her monitoring the conversation. Prison is the only place you're under the same restrictions. That's where he is now, in prison. So when people ask me, how's Dad? My heart breaks, because I know he's not well. Nothing I hoped for went as planned. The reunion I had hoped for got shattered, and I can't even give the things I brought for him to him at this time because I know she'll throw them away, burn them, or destroy them. I have to give it away to someone for safekeeping until she leaves. I wish I was able to spend time with him. Some people might ask, why didn't you? Truth is, I'm scared she's going to hurt him even more. That my presence will trigger her to new heights of wickedness. I'm scared that his heart will stop because it's being broken by seeing how she treats me. I'm scared his body will shut down and that he will have another stroke. I'm scared for his life, knowing full well what stress and pain does to a human body. I was hoping we could figure out a way for me to see him away from her, like a plan to get away, and we meet outside of the village. Unfortunately, my time here is running out, and I need to go back to Norway. Defeated or victorious, I saw him, I kept my word. I showed up and I exposed evil. Yet I didn't even get to give him a hug. I didn't get to tell him how much he means to me in words. I didn't get to help him in the way I set out to. I didn't get to make food for him or take a trip somewhere just for him to be out of the house. So much I couldn't do. Now I'm sitting here in a place that is home but feels so unfamiliar. A place that has brought me so much joy and lessons, but somehow I feel empty. I've never experienced that while I've been here, nor was I prepared for it. And I've learned so much about myself from this. A week has felt like a year, and a calling has felt heavy. Yet I stand. Yet I will continue to speak to God on my dad's behalf. Continue to work harder, create more, and make sure that I can help him in the future. I've used this fire to build my community, my legacy and empire, so that no wickedness shall have control over me and mine. Secure the means and build wealth so there's no decline in quality of life. I swear to continue on the path of prosperity and determination. I was not born to be weak, hide, or keep quiet. I pray for all my angels who have seen me through this very difficult and painful time. I pray all their blessings 10 times over. Thank you for believing in me and praying for my family. We will continue to fight the mission and the journey. There is no giving up and there is no stopping. Only God. It's all love, always. MeyJey. That is what happened when I went to see him. And I have gotten questions here and there like, how was that? And how's it going? And did you go regardless? And that was the only time I went, for the very reasons I explained in that post. There was a part of me that really wanted to go multiple times, but there is something about pride and ego, love, that needs to be reflected on. Because I knew that if I went, there would become fighting. I knew that he would be stressed out and he doesn't need more stress. I knew that she would continue to stress him out. I knew that everyone has their breaking point in life. Any human has their breaking point. And so when people later ask me, did you at least try to enjoy yourself? No. I wasn't there for a vacation. I wasn't there to party or just do whatever. I was there for a very specific reason. And when that reason faded into absolute chaos and heartbreak, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to see anyone. What was I gonna do? The only thing I did was go to the beach every now and then to just get out of the house. And then I slept and ate and waited for time to pass. I've never wanted to go back to Norway this much in my life. I've never been more happy about leaving Jamaica, which is crazy for me to say, but I was so heartbroken. I was so upset. And to be honest, I was fearing for my life. And I know that might sound dramatic to some. When people are possessed, and this is what I mean by possessed, when their spirit is not aligned with God and they are possessed by any spirit that is of wickedness, if that's jealousy or bitterness, hatred, bestiality, whatever it is, when you're possessed and your soul is corrupted, not to say that it cannot be healed and God cannot work miracles. I believe anyone can return to God. I believe anyone could get healed truly. But when you are possessed by whatever spirit or demon has you, you are willing and able to do things that you wouldn't if you were connected to your heart. And so I know that if you would want to hire someone to do some bad things, that isn't impossible. I think it would be very naive to think that that's not a reality or a possibility. I think that if you wanted to, and if you had the money to, there's always someone who is willing to do whatever you want them to do for the right price. And so the thoughts that was going through my mind is she that crazy? Did I just put a target on my back? Is the hatred and demonic possession that real and that strong that is a possibility? And obviously to me, God is, like I said, Alpha and Omega. Nothing happens without his permission, and nothing happens that's not his plan. So in that, I knew that I was protected. But to just be completely naive and think that these are not possibilities is not a reality for me. It was a legit thought of mine that if anyone wanted to, I'm easy to find. First of all, I'm very visible. Second of all, a lot of people know me there. And I was living at like an Airbnb with just a digital lock. You can buy information if you want. All you need is a password. There was no grill on my door. If you wanted to kick that door in, you could. Yes, there was like a security camera, but like, where are you gonna record the unaliving? Or like that doesn't really matter. And so I knew that me living there alone and that not being able to help, a legit thought that was running through my mind is if she is willing and able, that is a possibility. And that could happen. Now, I'm not accusing her of this. All of these is thoughts that are coming up as a possibility because people do things they wouldn't if they were aligned with God truly. I'm not saying that she did. Anything here is allegedly. She could allegedly, So I'm not saying that she did that. I'm saying that these are valid concern based upon the situation where I am and the reality of life. You could do that here in Norway. If you want to hire someone, you can go on the dark web and hire someone. These are very real things that are happening. So these are thoughts that come to my mind because I realized how sick you have to be to have the mindset that she was having. And so I was curious, like, okay, I'm here alone right now. And I basically just rattle a little snake nest. So there was legit fear around that, and so much heartbreak and so much tears around this very situation. And so I was looking at tickets to come back to Norway early, but that was way too expensive. And I didn't want to do that. There was a part of me that was like, am I supposed to run away in fear? Am I supposed to let that dictate my life? This is my home also. So like, it's so contradicting. It's like, okay, so there's a very real chance that this is a possibility, but I don't want to live in fear, and I don't want to move and be scared of life, of living, of existing, of walking around and claiming my home and knowing that God got me. So as I was dealing with all this, there was so many reflections made upon any possible outcome, and I don't understand how that benefited anyone, least of all him, when my intention was to help him. And the way I view it is that if you are in a union, in a marriage under God, that you would want your spouse, your person, your loved one, even if it's not a marriage, you're just family. If you are and want the best for that person, you would want every and any support that you can get. You would want that person to feel held, loved, seen, taken care of. Any donation or help or way to ease the burden of such a season of life should be welcomed. To me, at least, that's how I view it. That's what I would think would be the reasonable way of thinking. But again, that's just my perception, and that's how my brain works and my thought process. That doesn't mean everyone thinks that way. But this was just sad on so many levels, and I pray that whenever she leaves, that I get to speak to Dad and we get to talk about this, because I haven't spoken to him. She blocked all my numbers from his phone, so I haven't spoken to him, and she's still there. So to say the very least, this trip didn't really go as planned, and now you know why. And this is such a personal family matter that became so complex. I know this is a lot to share, truly, but I also felt like I must speak truth about what happened, and I was sent there by the grace of my angels and my community that supported me. And so for them to see and know what happened is the very least. Now, my intention was never to post pictures of him in his weakest moments, because I wouldn't want that for me. I wouldn't want my absolute worst days, weeks, life moments to be photographed and shared with the world. So that was never my plan. I was never going to do that. But I did expect, my plan was very different. My plan was to help out and at least to get some pictures with me and him together, and to hang out and to make food and fix things around the house or run errands that needed to be done, because I knew I had my driver. I can, if he needed something, I can fix it. I had a bunch of stuff for him that I had to give to a family friend for safekeeping. And so yeah, nothing really went as planned, and it really does hurt. I'm not going to lie. I'm not really over it. I don't think I'll ever be okay with the way things went down, but all I can do personally is focus on what I can do to better myself, to better my life, so that I can help. And whenever God allows it, I'll go back. Hopefully she's not there. And I can help out, and I can work on getting my own property there, so that I can spend a couple of months during the year and be with him, and so that is the intention, to continue working and deal with this, so that it does not fester, neither in bitterness, hate, and nor sorrow. I don't want to suppress this, and so I choose to speak about this and be honest about it because I feel like I owe that to my community, and because it is the truth and it is my experience, and my community is here to share in that. And I have such a strong bond with so many of you, and so it would be very unnatural for me not to share. And I'm not sharing this for anyone to spread hate or to hate on anyone. Honestly, I think the biggest thing that we can do is to pray. Pray for him and for her. Ooh, younger me is like, what do you mean? But it's truly the only weapon we have against demons is coming together in love and asking God to heal soul and hearts so that people can return to their God-given soul, and so that people can find reason and love again. And that's basically the only thing I'm asking for, is to pray for this whole situation, for him and his recovery, for her to find back to God, and for our community to grow stronger and bigger so that we can, you know, influence and help in good ways. So yeah, that is the update. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to be a part of something that has been life-changing, truly. And thank you for praying and being here, supporting, donating, and loving, and sending me so much love and support through so many different ways. So just know that I will never forget that, and I deeply appreciate it. And even if it didn't really turn out as we planned, I got to see him at least once. He got to know that I was there and that I did all that, and I think that also helped. Even if it wasn't everything we hoped, it was something. And so I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. Oh my god, I'm just crying all the time. I thought that I would be able to get through this now without crying, which is why I waited to make this video, but I can't help it. I'm an emotional baby. I'm an emotional gangster. But yeah, just know that I do appreciate that, and yeah, I love you guys so much. Yeah, I don't yeah, thank you.